Hey, what's up, peoples? I just wanted to share something with y'all, man. It's been on my mind for a minute, but I guess I'm a little shy still in front of the camera, but especially when I'm dealing with something that's dear to me, I don't want to mess up. I want y'all to really understand me. I escaped from the kids for a minute, so try to make this quick. Basically, I'm Robert Pelez, and I'm 42 years old, and I'm what they call a black person, black man, African American, and I like to think deeply, and I want to talk to y'all about a matter that I think affects all of us in matter of us living here. First of all, I think out of my 43 years, I've come to the understanding that race is just one of the tests in this life, to make us better or to end our existence. I believe tests in life make us better or ends us, But nevertheless, this conversation I want to have is basically about the current situation in this country, in this world, about race. And on the internet, we're in our own world. We don't have a country. I'm not American, I'm not Russian, I'm not nothing. African, I'm not black or white, because as soon as I take the camera off me, you don't know what color I am. But, I'm letting you know what you think ain't always what it is. But anyway, back to the topic. Get out. Back to the topic is that right now we're at a pivotal point in this world. And thank God we can communicate with one another because of this internet. So that's a great thing. But so this point we at, maybe everybody's not on the same level, so we need to talk to each other and share. I'm attempting to start this conversation. I may not be the most educated. I may not be the most older or the elder, but I'm going to be the one who to initiate it if I can. So I advise y'all brothers and hope y'all brothers and sisters join in the conversation and let's find out the truth, the real truth. Now, I'm going to give you a story, a scenario what happened to me and what inspired me to do this video. Because I was just watching something on the internet where a few white people have made testimonies about what has happened in this country to black people and how there must be an atonement and how black people have been truly abused and used and misled, misguided, uneducated, and constantly being villainized for trying to better themselves. Okay? Now, even though I know this is true, and black people got an argument themselves where they say white people, some white people are innocent. So, even though I know that these things are true, we still have to come down to the truth. And the only way we can do that is to take the race away for a minute. So when I take the race away and I think about it, I realize we have to do something before it's too late. And we end up making a vicious cycle because that's how life works. You make a mistake and you go around, you either die or you do it again. If you're still on that same methodology, the same way of life, you have to make a change, and that change have to come from yourself and your heart. You have to show some love for yourself and for everything else around you in order to truly get to the truth, you know? So, let me tell you the story. So I was in the courthouse the other day. I was trying to get a matter taken care of that has been taking me years to deal with. And my daughter, she's now 12 years old. And since she was born 12 years ago, I've been having personal issues with her mother where we couldn't get along. So by the time my daughter was about 3 years old, I took her mother to court because it was at the point where she wasn't allowing me to see my daughter. Well, the judge asked her, "Why did you do that? Why you don't let him see his daughter?" And she had nothing to reply. She had nothing to say. So the judge was smart enough to give me 50% legal custody and 50% financial custody. So the judge already foreseen what I'm going to be going through. And I didn't really realize that. Well, that judge died. I didn't even know it until maybe 7 years later, where I had enough of my baby mother and she was not allowing me to have any influence over my daughter. I didn't know where she was going to school at. I didn't know where her summertime, she was going to a summertime program. I had no idea where she was spending her time all day. So I got nervous because I realized, I'm always on Facebook, and I'm every day in my life I'm talking about being responsible and being a good person and children. I always deal with my children. I have 5 other children since then. And so I'm really concerned with my daughter. So, I try to swallow my pride and deal with her mother as nicely as possible, but that's not the issue. It's not about me being in a relationship with her. She just don't want me to be an influence on my daughter for whatever reason. So I don't take that personal. I take that as a problem. I take that as a real issue later on in my daughter's life. So I talk to my daughter and she seems to understand me, but she's smart and she realized that there's nothing she can do nor I can do. So she's like going along with whatever. Well, I told her, don't worry, Daddy's going to never quit. I'm going to get her eventually and teach her the right way. She said, okay. Well, meanwhile, she's still with her mother and doing what her mother says she wanted to do. And I hope she don't start losing focus of our dream, of her having a father and a mother and me being her protector. I am her protector. So I was in this courthouse for the morning all the way into the afternoon before I even had an understanding of what I need to do as far as with the paperwork. I couldn't afford a lawyer. All those 12 years, I couldn't afford a lawyer to deal with this. So, I've been going up downtown and trying to do it on my own. One time I did get a court hearing, but I went into the court and the judge basically kicked me out, said I didn't have all the information right. I did the wrong things and made me look silly. I was in there for another case, another situation. So I couldn't even argue for my visitation or for so I didn't have any rights at all. So I walked out upset and trying to deal with the mother, trying to find a medium way with her. But it always comes down to the fact that she just don't want me to have any say-so. So any influence. So to make a long story short, I was in this courthouse. And the reason I'm telling y'all this story about my daughter is to get to the main point. So let me go ahead and get to it. So while I was in this courthouse, I was at the front desk or the front window where everybody was in this long line. So I get in the front window and they ask me what I need. And I try my best to explain to them what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to get the paperwork together so I can remodify my visitation. They wouldn't give me any information. They said, we can't tell you nothing. is this what you want to do or not? And I was like, well, yeah. So I did it. And when they was giving me an option of doing is either bringing the old case back and reopening that case or starting a new case. Well, I didn't know how serious this question was, because if I would have chose, I want to reopen the old case, I would have got a letter to say that everything had to be done over and it was wrong the way I did it, because I can't reopen that case for some reason. I have to start a new case and pay $280 something. So that would have wasted a lot of my time, and I had the money on me, but I didn't know that that's what I had to do. Well, long did I know it was a man behind me, a so-called white man, and he was listening. And he looked at shabby, man. He didn't look like no lawyer. His hair wasn't nice and neat. He was, he didn't look like a lawyer. He just looked like a regular old guy from a corner store. Well, when I left that window with no information, no understanding, about to make a mistake, the guy walked up to me. He saw me frowning, looking at my paperwork, trying to figure it out. And he walked up to me and he said, "Hey, let me see what you got there. Let me see if I can help you." And he grabbed the paper from me. And I didn't even look at him strong, because I didn't know who he was. I didn't even think he was a lawyer. So I looked at him and just went back worrying. And I was looking at my papers. And it was all scattered out on this table. And he started looking at him. He looked at him. He looked at him. And he asked me, "What you trying to do with this?" And he looked at him. And I didn't even get to explain to him. He started looking at him and figuring it out himself. Man, within 20 minutes, everything that I needed, he did it. Everything that I've been trying to do for my daughter for the last 12 years, for the last 10 years at least, things I've been going to court for, everything, he figured it out, showed me exactly how I got to be put and turned in, how much money I got to pay. He said, he tried to show me a cheaper way. I told him, no, I got the money. I'm willing to pay right now, whatever it takes. He said, okay, this is how you do this. This is how you do that. And before he finished, I was over there crying. And it wasn't a loud cry. I was just like, my eyes was getting watery. And he didn't even look at me, because he didn't know I was crying yet. And he went back to the paper and he was looking, and I was just like, "Thank you." I said thank you to him. And he went back down to my paperwork and took a pen, and started writing. And I was looking closer, like, what is he writing? And I'm looking at the information that I had missed. He was filling in all this stuff, and his story was about everything that I was telling him about. He made it sound like a lawyer, and a lot better, so that the judge could understand it. And he was saying how I was denied my visitation and this and that. And by the time I finished reading that paragraph, I was crying. And he looked at me, and because I made a little noise, and he looked at me and he said, "What's wrong, man?" He said, "You okay?" And I was like, "Man, thank you." And I was just crying and crying. And I started like getting a little out of hand. So I backed up and put my head down and wiping my face. I kind of was like, wow, this is really deep, man. I was nowhere near crying when I walked in there, but I was really worried, thinking about this for years. And all of a sudden, this man walked up, a white man, and fixed my whole life, man. And now I have a court date. Now I finally have my chance with a clarity of what I'm supposed to say and do in front of this judge. And, so the moral of my story is, no doubt about it, we got to figure out a plan in this world of how we're going to all have good time on this life. Enjoy this life, because we've seen too many examples of us leaving this life. So we have to enjoy this life and learn how to enjoy this life without foulness and illness and mistreatment and abuse. We got to learn how to peacefully enjoy this life with patience and you know, basically we need to come together. And you know, whether you say you white, you black, whatever. Like if I turn this camera off me, I'm no color. But if you want to say we white, black, whatever, we need to come together. And there's a lot of dirt that's been going on that's been done, specifically to the black side. There's a lot of wrong that was done to us. It's almost like, why do we have to humble ourselves to make this all better? Well, do you want it to be better or not? That's the whole question. If you want to ask your question why, then why do you want better? Do you not want better? If you're not, you know, go to war. Do what you do. But if you want peace, you have to initiate it, whether it's for you or against you. You have to initiate the peace, you know, and whatever happens, happens. But at least you did your best. And, you know, I feel like crying now thinking about all of the injustice people do to one another, man, over race, you know. Strictly because of the color of your skin, there's... What happened? Shut that door, man. I'll be out there. Shut the door. Okay. I'm sorry, okay? Yeah, so that's why I wanted to get out, man, that, you know, we got a lot of work, and it's good to see that things are happening. I see some transpiring, some things transpiring, and things happening. But I just wanted to add my 2 cents that, you know, it's going to get better. It's going to get better. And, you know, that really touched me, man, that a white man walked up to me and did that for me. And that's not to say that's the only time, man. I don't look at him as a white man. I look at him like an angel. You know, one time my cousin died up in Philadelphia, and I had to go to Jersey for the funeral, and I was flying in my car down here in Georgia, and I was got to South Carolina, and I went off a road in a ditch. I was crying so much I couldn't see, and I went off in a ditch, and it was at midnight in the country, and out of nowhere, a white woman stopped, and she looked like she was glowing, looked like an angel. She walked up to me, and she said, "Are you okay?" I was in the car still, got out, and, you know, I was just looking at her like, you know, why would you come and help me? You know, just out of the middle of the night, you come out here and talking to me. And she wouldn't leave me until some help came. You know, and she disappeared after that. You know, after the help came, she was gone. I didn't even see her. So things like that transpire in my life, I don't take it for granted. You know, this man coming out of the blue, helping me with my daughter, that's another that's going to go down in my memory bank forever. You know, and I hope I can educate my kids and fast forward them so they won't even have to, you know, the angels that come to them, they talk to them. They know them. They recognize them. They daddy done told me. All right, say bye, man. We out. Say peace.
Peace.